Baby dolls, there is a lot of crypto opportunity around, and throughout the months, I will keep reporting to you the stats between PulseChain and Cardano. There's so much opportunity out here. Now, friends, I want you to know that when I just say the word PulseChain, I know for you at home, you just think ticker PLS, but no, it should encompass the whole ecosystem. It encompasses not just PulseX and eHEX and Inc. and the yield farming there, but it also encompasses the altcoins on the ecosystem as well. So, you know, eHEX, you have leverage on it. So Icosa and Hedron. You also have with PulseChain all the ecosystem coins. PDI, Chopa, Teddy Bear. You have the eHEX Orange Address, Tangang, all these others, friends. Richard's only brother. There is only one brother. All these other ones that we're playing around with. Pico. I don't care. All of these things, it's chaotic randomness. What you guys like, what things are floating around, it doesn't really matter. It's just that when we say basically the word PulseChain, you know everything has to get tied up because they're all liquidity bonded to Pulse. And if you're going to deeper ledger psychologically, this is just, it's how crypto works, right? If the spear, right, you throw a spear, the spear of Pulse goes up and that lifts the valuation for everything, what happens is you have the psychological wealth effect. So what happens is people rotate out of their Pulse and their PulseX and their eHEX. Now, even though we beg them, for the love of God, please, don't you dare rotate out. I'm spinning my little helicopter, okay? Please don't do it. They don't listen. I know we don't listen. It's a psychological wealth effect. It is what it is. It's the same thing. It happens in economies. The US Fed knows about it. Every central banker knows about it. That's what they do. They got to make the number quote go up, and then you feel more richer. You feel more confident to spend. Okay, but you know what are you going to do? Tell people not to do it? Yes, but also are you going to ignore it? I'm not ignoring it. You're not either. Okay, but you know that's why that rising tide very, very important. You know. Cardano, man. Cardano, friends. Look, I just got to keep saying this to you. Everyone knows my Chainlink prophecy is that it's going to flip XRP. Chainlink is about 29% of XRP's market cap. So it's about a 3.5x away from flipping. Now, I'm hoping, right, XRP, look, I know the prophecy is going to get fulfilled, whether you like it or not, friends. And yes, you're listening to a guy in a helicopter kid hat. Now, I know the prophecy is going to get fulfilled. I can see the future. It's just that I don't know the USD prices. I'm hoping it's a win for XRP and a win for Chainlink. So I hope XRP does 3x and Chainlink does its 10x. Basically, that's a flip. XRP people believe that XRP is going to do a 15x from here to get to the target. So, man, I don't think Chainlink's going to give me a freaking 45x, 50x from here. That's $600 link. That's a lot, man. That's big. That'll be a $400 to $500 billion valuation for it, right? So these numbers are going to match up. That's why I'm using that. Now, just parallel that to PulseChain and Cardano. I hope Cardano goes up 10x from here so that if PulseChain flips it, PulseChain will do a 100x, you know, 90 to 100x will flip it. I hope that happens. But there's also the world where maybe Cardano only does a 4 and then PulseChain does a 36x. That's another way to do it. I know, worst case, Cardano goes flat and everything goes up, but that's really unrealistic. Is it possible that Cardano literally moves nowhere while Bitcoin is eventually $69,000, $70,000? No, but you know, I mean, look, anything can happen. I never want to really like bet on anything like that, friends, but PulseChain's volume, right, all these days, man, it's doing a whopping $60 million per day, and that's a lot, especially when Cardano is doing a tiny, man, $5 million rent. It's just, and then you have the buy and burn too. That's an enormous amount of pressure coming into that buy and burn. I've made videos on it. Like I'm here, I'm opening up the minds and the legs of the community metaphorically, just to tell you that yes, PulseX is the greatest utility you could ever have in any coin. It's the utility you want. It's just that you have to see the vision. The vision is not, well, quantity goes up because it's deflationary. The vision is you actually have economic real utility happening with the ecosystem and all the buy and burn, everything goes up. And every time it ticks up, man, every time it goes from like 3.5 to 3.51 to 3.52, those little tickies, it's buying 2 billion of PulseX, buying and burning it. It's just insane, friends. So calculating it based off the sitting 1 trillion coins sitting on the supermarket shelf, it's going to take about 700 days and you get a 4x from here. That's why I make my videos titled, I've shown you like PulseX, the free 4x. Now, some people, I've got to reiterate to you, it's an amplification of a 4x. It does not mean, oh, we just go 4x. No. This is remove humans joining the community and remove sellers of click and sell. Just if everything stays the same, no one changes anything. There's no growth, zero growth. You just keep doing the activity. PulseX reprices 4x of the next 4 years. Now, what's going to happen if there's more amounts of people coming in and the growth rates continue up? That's why the potential is big. I also have this cute, nice artwork that everybody does. Shout out to Mr. Goldcare. I just noticed the thing out here. I love this artwork seeing here, friends. This is Mr. King Arthur going, I'm going to bury my green candle in your... Don't finish it, friends. It's a family-friendly show. You see, PulseChain, PulseX, and HEX, it's great. It's just that if you had to pick, and don't pick. Just like, we're describing things going on here. PulseX has the highest amount of leverage out of them both because it's cycle one coin, so it's got an advantage over HEX, and then it is the DEX with PulseChain, on PulseChain. So it's a smaller ecosystem within there. It's easier to move, and that's probably why. But here's the thing, man. It's actually getting bigger and bigger and bigger, friends. We're ticking. My gosh, can you imagine? Is it even possible for us to see PulseX flip PulseChain in market cap? Of course, it is technically possible. And of course, if you run the maths, you go, well, PulseChain's inflating and then PulseX is deflating economic activity. Yeah, you can see that. But no one in crypto has ever seen anything like that. And it is going to be scary because, just think about this, man. Your PulseX, that buy and burn, that is insane. However, it's not, don't mid-curve and trap yourself. What I want to tell you is that there's a disadvantage with this buy and burn. And the disadvantage is this. You see, it's a drunken Michael Saylor. He's so drunk that the protocol keeps buying every day. It can't save ammo if the price is too high and then store it for the bear market. It can't do that. It has to keep doing it every day. And unfortunately, in a bear market, the next bear market, which is hopefully a long time away, the volume crashes minus 90, 95%. The prices crash, the volume crashes, everyone's out. So that's when the buy and burn goes to a halt. It'll slow down a lot, you see. So that's a disadvantage when it comes to these. I guess the advantage is it will just keep buying. There's no price too high for it. Okay, so that's just something just to keep in mind. And I'm just trying to prepare you. Everything's got a price too low and a price too high. Yeah, hopefully the euphoria signs are that obvious to us. I also had a kind friend out here, Aiden. Now, my friend Aiden, when I made my post here, I made my post about the FOMO buying investigators and obviously, friends, OkeX, just to let you know, OkeX, friends, I told you, and I'm wearing a helicopter hat, spinny helicopter hat, friends. I told you, I know OkeX delisting us was shameful, but it's a bullish signal. And look what happened. OkeX delist at the exact Pico bottom, and then we went up 350%. I mean, it's crazy. You can't make this up. Just got to repeat to you, man. Look at this. They literally delisted us with this little square and we went up 344% from this rally. It's nuts, okay? So Aiden, though, has asked, my friend, please take a peek at the eHEX to Pulse ratio. It hasn't been this low since the Furu finance flip. So in my post, I'm just showing you that you can... actually, I'm going to show you the chart. Now, it's a wonderful chart because it's very mean reverting. And you can see it right here. This is eHEX Pulse. I've changed it to the Pulse ratio. Let's just put on a weekly chart. So weekly... I know you don't see much, friends, but let's just put on a daily really. You can see how this thing, it's sideways, which is pretty much, it's basically like a market maker's dream. You go, oh, wow, there's a price too low. And then there's the prices that were high and you just hope it pings around. So what's the advantage of this? The advantage is you can liquidity provide and earn fees. Okay, and here's the line in the middle. And you can just be like, oh, sweet, I'm never going to suffer, right? There's just one caveat to this. It is great. It's okay. eHEX is cheap. You can say, oh, wow, eHEX is very, very low against Pulse here, and you can ride it back up, and you might think, oh, if you rotated some Pulse into eHEX and you went back up here, you get 68% on your Pulse. That's another way to think about it, friends. Let's say you had 10 million Pulse, all right, 10 million, you rotate it into eHEX here. If you're able to just sell it back at the dot, at some point in the future, you don't know, but at some point in the future, you can hold it forever, you'll get back, 60% more Pulse back. So you'll get back 16 million Pulse. It's another way, it's like you're trading and yield. And I don't recommend you always don't like just throw yourselves into any of these, but just think about a bit what you're doing. But it is cheap. Cheap is cheap. I know it is that. There's just a bit more nuance when it comes to this because, as I explained, if you are longing that, if you're selling your Pulse to buy eHEX, you're effectively, what you're doing is, this is the PulseX ratio. You're effectively short here. And it's just flipped green on the weekly super trend. This is Pulse versus Hex. So I don't know what happens, friends, when it comes to these, but I guess my expectation, if you let natural market forces, the duck doesn't come in, the world's #1 biggest die holder doesn't come in, Richard doesn't come in, Goldwell doesn't come in. If no one of these big masterminds come in, family friendly show, I think the cycle 1 coins, Pulse and PulseX, will uptrend against Hex. So that means that Pulse-Hex ratio basically goes up. And from this target here, from here around the target, that's around like almost a plus 80%. So that's basically what I think would happen, natural market forces. Just because, you know, Ethereum is like PulseChain, and then Bitcoin is like Hex. So if you do layer 1 versus the store of value, and put in a very simple way, PulseChain can be upgraded. PulseChain and PulseX as well, they can be upgraded. They're not truly finished products. Now, they technically are finished, but they always can be given a V2 and a V3, V4, and more risk premia can be added on them, which comes in the terms of, in terms of like, well, see with Hex, you need people to come and like Hex. But with PulseChain, you don't need people to just like Pulse. You can have people, for example, some secret FOMO buying people, right, who will be caught by Mr. B Roots and Ian as FOMO buying investigators and Sherlock Somi. We can find that there are people who, they don't like Pulse, but they had to buy it to join the ecosystem and then maybe participate in some DeFi farming and also buy meme coins and stuff. And they're all pegged with Pulse as well. So they might just buy meme coins and altcoins. Maybe they're just like PDI. Maybe someone's like, yes, it's going not to $1. It's going to peg to $10. These people, yeah, they come in and then Pulse benefits the most from that. These people might hate Richard Hart. They might hate Pulse, but Pulse gets more of the benefactor from that. It's just like saying, well, if people like crypto and they want to use crypto, technically they could buy Bitcoin, but you know that they don't. You know what they do is they buy ETH first, come in, get the Ethereum gas loaded, and then they go disperse out to, you know, PulseChain, Solana, or the other chains. Now, of course, yes, in a perfect world, yes, they just go to the right places, but they go and explore. So that's why I just wanted to clear things up with that. So yeah, you can, if you had Pulse, friends, if you wanted to play that ratio I showed you, it's nice and base. Don't go all in on one area. Please don't go all in. What you do is you just get in a bit, and then maybe it goes down more. Always assume these things keep going against you, friends, because you just don't know what's going to happen. You might find, though, you might be surprised. There might be some, that Pulse and Hex ratio, just because I say it goes up, I know I'm accentuating it here because what's plus 70%, man? I know it means a lot. It could be 10x versus 17x, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not really a lot. Why? You have the PulseChain altcoins if you really want leverage. You know what I mean? It's just cute to play around with these here and there. So just think about those numbers because you can mix and match and play around with these, but just consider that before you go all in on just one. Always leave ammo just in case one of them works out. You never know. They might range more. And you never know, like I said as well, what if God Hand himself, what if Ricardo Corazon says, I don't like how cheap Hex is against Pulse when it goes up to there. But one thing I can just tell you right now, I know because you've got to speculate, right? He doesn't fight the market. He lets the natural market forces go somewhere. And if he does fight it, he lets it go to the very end. All right. So maybe what we find is, if we go back to this Pulse Hex chart, this ratio chart, we might find, I'm just guessing out here, and he might not even need to do this, but we might find that, see where we are today. If we ever got, let's say we even got much higher than this, friends. Let's say actually Pulse versus Hex goes super high. Let's say Pulse outperforms Hex like 3-1, something ridiculous. Okay, something big, right? Maybe up here, you might find where he does a big move himself. And for this thing to come down is he buys up Hex. And that's one example, right? Where PulseChain does a 30x and then Hex does a 10x. and the ratio is really disconnected. So like total hex is like 25 cents, whatever, and PulseChain's like screamed highest 30x. And you never know, he might sweep it up to 50 cents. I know we have to speculate on like, oh, what would Richard do here and there? It's just that, yeah, I'm not going to pretend and shut my mouth and say this isn't a serious thing to just consider. It is a serious factor because if you leave it up to natural market forces, you know from my teachings what people keep choosing time and time again. Cycle 1 coins. We want new cycle, no PTSD, no weird stuff, no chart patterns, no ugly looking memories, none of that. That's what people always choose on average. There's more flair, there's more emotion in there. How far can this go? Okay, so, you didn't have PulseChain maxis in the last cycle. Now we have PulseChain maxis. Just, it's the first cycle with PulseChain maxis, but now it's a second cycle with hex maxis, so that's something to think about, because even if PulseChain kind of gets let down, even if it does, right, now you have in the next cycle for PulseChain, you'll be in cycle 2, and all those PulseChain maxis, they're going to be like, I shouldn't have been like that aggressive, right? But you don't have that right now. Everybody is fresh in the mind doing that. So I've just opened your mind to doing that. You can play around eHEX Pulse. It's nice with the ratio. Check the yields if you want to provide a bit of yield. You can play around in that. It's just the beautiful part is you're overwhelmed with things to do. Now, some people get anxious, and that's okay to feel that, but I'm telling you, that means it's bull market opportunity. That means it's raining money from the skies pretty much. There's demand coming in. People want to come and participate. That's what we want to see. Back in frickin' 2022, it was literally, okay, sorry guys, you got to wait 5 months, DCA, one little tiny nibble per week, and the best you can earn is your trashy little 4% yield on Ethereum, but you're thankful for that because Ethereum's not going to zero and everything else felt like it did. So we are now in bull market mode, okay? Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.